almost forgot.
Can't have that.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you. Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast? But she usually doesn't scare easy.
Well, of course she's taking it seriously, but that's her job. When she's on duty, she's got to be on the lookout for danger.
Like,
yeah, but talking about
little
sending a
neon
distress call on her
cards. I love it. I love how it feels like a cheap prop, but it doesn't look like lazy. It looks like designed.
This mission has enough complications stacking up.
Now, we'll get through it. You, me, and Miranda too.
Commander Rydek was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Hotari delegation named Tylus. She mentioned an unusual artifact of unknown origin being held under tight security within the Hotari palace.
See, it looks a little bit closer to the DS9 outfit in this light. It's a little bit lighter at the top.
Artifact might have
a little bit, but definitely still darker than
Storm.
Yeah, it should be like blue.
We now know has been targeted at the Resolute. Commander Rydek, if you want to take it from here.
Of course.
So, okay, we talked about the best Star Trek uniforms. What are the worst ones?
Tylus managed to infiltrate the heavily guarded location within the palace and sent us these scans using my tricorder.
I'm looking up a list.
It appears to be some sort of...
Sorry,
I think
Star Trek what?
Possibly...
Yeah, the worst Star Trek
destruction
uniforms.
weapon, originating on Tau. Of particular interest is this symbol, which we couldn't identify the origin.
Oh, I know. It's, remember when anyone could wear this Star Trek miniskirt, and it was just horrendous on no matter what gender it was? Like,
The TNG Season 1
why
stuff,
are you
yeah.
making anyone fucking wear a miniskirt in this day and age? Stop it.
From Federation database with a 90%
I think
probability
Kirk's
of natural
mirror
hair.
universe
Select
outfit's
this
pretty
symbol to
ugly.
Further analyze.
I mean, the obvious pick here is the motion picture uniforms, which were these like horrible pastel spandex one-piece things with like the shoes sewn into them. Like actors needed people to help them out of the uniforms so they could like go use the bathroom.
Amazing.
So I'm looking at a list of I'm looking at a list of all of them, and one that immediately sticks out as terrible: Enterprise's jumpsuits. I get what they're going for. They look a little bit more like Mystery Science Theater onesies, like a jumpsuit, trying to give like a spacefarer closer to our current times vibe. They're hideous.
Match.
Got it.
It's upsettingly 2000s.
I mean, that's all of Enterprise, honestly.
So, what are we looking at?
My close runner-up is the Star Trek 2009 film uniforms, because the uniforms look like they're made out of like sports jersey mesh, and that's awful.
But one spanned millions of systems with a population.
I think they were okay. I was not a huge fan of the fact that they had the Star Trek Delta like as a sub pattern of the material. Though that might have just been the Beyond uniforms.
Technology. I wonder if they even know what they have.
The Strange New World uniforms are better versions of those, but
is limited. I have only encountered passing references to them.
Hey Mumbles, do you remember this episode?
What one?
Actually,
Okay, it's a season 1 TNG episode. It's the one where Data keeps getting his fingers stuck in a Chinese finger puzzle, and the Ferengi show up and they're weird.
86.4. The USS Enterprise.
That's a good that's a wise decision. But
I refuse to watch the first
This would
season.
make more sense if you had seen that episode specifically. I think it's like the 6th episode that was ever filmed.
After negotiating the release with an entity.
I've probably seen it, and I just don't absolutely remember 1 second of it.
Unbreakable energy draining field.
The reason I say I've probably seen it is I did try to watch all of Star Trek at one time, and I think I got about halfway through season 1 of TNG.
Did you try to do it chronologically? Did you start with like the original series and then
yeah,
the movies?
I don't know.
And then...
No,
I actually
don't do that.
Someone from the Takan Empire is actually still around.
Or at least was.
If you
There's some
have never watched Star
bad
Trek
original series
before
episodes.
and you want
What other
to,
information do you
start
have
with
on
the
Portal
episode
63,
where Data
Guardian
is
of the
Sherlock
Takan
for the
Empire?
first time.
The entity known
That
as
is, if that is your first Star Trek episode, you will
A
fall in
biped
love with the
humanoid.
entire
He was
IP,
unaware that the
guaranteed.
Takan Empire no longer existed at the time of the encounter. He was able to control the crystal-based technology of the Takan outpost through apparent telepathic means. It was by his choice that the Enterprise was released from the energy draining field after Commander William T. Riker of the Away Team argued on behalf of both Starfleet and the Ferengi.
Telepathic control of their technology.
As I have said, they were the most advanced civilization.
You know, I'll give it this. It's a comparatively deep cut to choose a specific and not particularly beloved TNG Season 1 episode as the basis for some of this.
Delphi Ardu-4.
That's what you gotta do. If you ever get your hands on an IP, you gotta start with like the most busted, shitty, neglected parts of it, and just like bring it out and polish it off.
Don't say that. They're coming out with like Dragon Age shit, like more movies and shit, and other videos. Stop. Don't.
Planets was considered completely uninhabitable.
Do we know
yeah.
what the status
Miles
of
Smith, right?
Dragon Age development
Frequent ion
is,
storms.
given the
That can't just be
layoffs?
a coincidence.
Just deep despair. Despair.
There
Great
appears
despair.
to be some sort of restriction order from Starfleet. Computer, explain this restriction.
A Starfleet directive
Let's just say
similar
I
to
probably will
General
play
Order
another
7
Danganronpa
forbids
game
entering the
before I
Delphi
play
Ardu
another
system
Dragon Age.
or attempting to make contact with Portal
And for those who
63.
don't know, they probably will never make another Danganronpa
No
game.
trespassing sign for just anybody.
It's weird how
Makes sense,
little
considering
knowledge
what
I
happened to the
needed,
Enterprise D.
and truly I had very little, to just
Right.
feel absolutely devastated by that
Technology to
comparison.
capture and hold the Federation flagship would have to be unbelievably powerful. Computer, what else can you tell us about the energy draining field the Takan used?
The Enterprise D was unable to break free on its own. The precise nature of the technology was never fully understood. Only that the crystalline technology
So wouldn't
used was
the Federation want to get this technology and use it as a weapon?
The engineering team found a quantized spin crystal
Yes.
in the shuttle you
That-
took to Hotari.
That
They
comes
registered
up
tetrametric
as a point
radiation
later.
coming from it.
Oh.
We
I was
have
just being a
Takan
jackass.
Not as a
but-
major plot point, but
Right now?
it is something that you
Right.
talk about.
I'll run a full analysis in the containment lab.
The Elydians should have crushed the revolt. But if the Hotari have Takan technology and can control it, I see why they're willing to negotiate peace. For all we know,
It's just, I don't know, the duality of Star Trek's
we're up
world
against
remains
something
weird to me.
greater than we can imagine.
I keep bringing it up, but we keep bumping into the edges of it.
There's only one
I
way
think
to find out.
DS9 was maybe the
We need to
best
see what's down there
that the Star
for
Trek ever
ourselves.
I might be able to
was
help
at dealing with it because it confronted it head on.
To triangulate the source
Yeah.
of the ionic interference and warp disruption to a specific
Like, DS9 was always more interested in
engineering used.
how does this
data
universe
from the shuttle
work
to
and how do the
pinpoint
pieces
its
fit together when you can't just like leave these people after one episode and
know
never
where to
see
look.
them again. Not that Deep Space Nine
Commander
didn't do
Riker's
episodes
right.
like that, but it didn't
We
do
need
as
to
many.
know what's down there, what the Hotari are hiding, to better understand what we're up against, and to neutralize it.
I
if
think
we
fairness,
it's
this
tough
is
to
like a-
do-
Captain,
Go ahead.
embarking on a mission to the Hotari
I was gonna
moon
say it's tough
would
because
not be
it's
viewed
different
favorably
generations
by
of
either side.
sci-fi. So like
However,
when Star
given
Trek
the
first started off, it
circumstances,
was,
we are
and I cringe
entirely
using
within
this
our
term,
rights
so
to
please
defend
forgive
ourselves.
me, hope
I just
punk,
want to make sure
where
this
it was
doesn't-
basically like, oh boy, isn't it revolutionary to just dream that things can be better and shit like that? And then you enter like the 90s and early
Assuming
2000s,
you're up to
and
the
it's
task.
like, are we sure about
Require
that?
absolute
Are we
secrecy.
really sure about that?
And obviously
And so it's hard
without
to
risk.
like for a single IP to
I'll get the
survive
away team
and
in
to
and out.
keep
They're in safe hands with
continuity
me.
when
Under
the
normal
ideals of it are
circumstances, that
totally
would be the
different
case.
throughout the different
Given the
generations of people
sensitive
writing it.
nature of this incursion, I'm afraid you'll have to go it alone. I'm hoping Tylus can accompany you. The priority is to avoid detection.
In some ways, it takes a lot of courage to make
The last thing we need
a
is to
hopeful,
get
far
caught
future
and
science
blamed
fiction
for violating our
story.
neutrality and aggravating an already tense situation,
I would say Star Trek never really got into like
which is why I've chosen you.
doom and gloom future until like maybe the Abrams films.
Tylus will be
I don't
sent to
know.
I mean,
I
it's-
think Deep Space
not only
Nine
for knowledge of the
did
mines,
in its own
but-
way.
To an extent, but I think it was like a.
Which mind we need to get into.
Make sure she understands.
There are
the-
compromises that need to be made sometimes to
She's
make
not
this
going to want her
work,
people
but
to
it's
know
still
about this.
important to like
Get in
defend
touch with Tylus and make the
the-
necessary arrangements as discreetly as possible.
like the utopia that we've been able to build. It's more about the maintenance of that utopia rather than like, well, that utopia isn't really real.
Understood.
But I wouldn't classify that as hope punk necessarily, because I think
Sure,
that even,
not straight
yeah.
up idealistic.
I think like in Deep Space Nine there are haves and have-nots in its own way, even in a utopia society, and I think it acknowledges that too. Like not everyone's living the same way in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
You know.
But isn't that
There's
part of
the
the point of
whole-
Deep Space Nine? Because it is in Cardassian space. It's on the edge of the actual Federation.
Yeah, you're dealing with like the aftermath of the space Holocaust, and the space Nazis are still around.
Right.
Well, and then you also even have like Quark in his bar, and like they take the
Petty Officers
whatever
Diaz and Edsel.
whatever the stupid
Where's
bars
the
are.
crystal formation that you found in the shuttle?
They had,
Ensign Calloway with
and this is really funny to me that this all ended up happening this way, but they had that whole
Security brought it to the
subplot
containment lab.
for several seasons where you've got the
They don't know anything
Maquis,
about it.
a group of
Security
like
never showed
Federation citizens
Miranda
whose
never got there?
like colonies
She's
got
the one
like
that had the crystal
basically
formation?
negotiated over to
Yes,
the
Damaris.
Cardassians as a result of a treaty, who were like unhappy with that and decided to form a resistance movement to like, you know,
Carter
free
Diaz to
their
Miranda
their
Maris.
homes, and Starfleet is like, well, no, you can't do that. And a lot of Starfleet officers themselves are sympathetic to this and like just basically go AWOL and join this freedom fighting movement.
She has to be.
And they did all of this for, like, all of this as setup for
Computer.
fucking
Officer
Voyager.
Miranda Maris.
And then Voyager just never did anything with the premise at all.
Miranda Maris is in the isolinear storage array.
If anyone is confused about
I'll go find
why,
her.
like trying to track like why I was able to supply Latinum there based on my previous
I am
statements about
sure
not watching
Mr.
Star
Diaz
Trek,
can attend to this.
here's the complete map to the Star Trek I've watched ad hoc. Most of TNG probably at least once and then forgotten it. About half of the original series at least once and then forgotten it. And then just about every scene with Quark in it on YouTube.
Quark's good. The big, scary, low-light room with servers. Oh, they're actually just called servers.
What percentage of the Enterprise do you think is just shit like this?
Not as much as you'd think, the way they depict it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, like, you could just be in... There could be 18 rooms like this, but it just looks like the same room when everybody's standing around it with clipboard.
Yeah. They actually do have a set like this in the Next Generation that I think they only ever used once.
Damn.
It was the
It's a lavish thing to do with that show.
well, it wasn't this big. It was basically a room that had like 6 or 7 walls that looked like this, basically. So, and some, you know, control consoles and lights and stuff, but that was about it. Oh.
Miranda, you in here?
I'd be really paranoid whenever I went around a room like this, that if I didn't call out my presence constantly, I would surprise somebody, they'd fall off the railing.
Look, OSHA doesn't exist in the future.
We've reached a utopian level that doesn't need OSHA,
Ah.
Josh. It's
It's fine, we'll just clone you with the transporter or whatever.
This looks like the inside of the Epcot ball when all the lights are on.
It is the Epcot ball. They just borrowed it to build a computer inside it and put it in a spaceship.
Ah, cool.
Hey!
It's the sequel to Spaceship Earth. Spaceship.
Spaceship.
Miranda?
Oh no, my gal.
What the hell?
My sweet
Space
gal.
spaceship ship.
You almost knocked me to the lower level. What's wrong with you?
Oh, it's alright. There's no OSHA for a reason.
Why did you run as a fantastic question?
I'm in here looking for you.
Oh.
Well, I'm busy.
Should have spoke up earlier, Red Scarn.
So bad. She's doing
Commander
bad
Westbrook
girl
said the
stuff.
crystal formation we found in the shuttle never made it to the containment lab.
I don't know why he'd say that.
Did
I
she
brought him
lick
there
the crystal
myself.
formation and now she's got
Whatever he
crystals in
told
her
you, he got
brain?
it wrong.
Little crystal bugs?
All I know is where I left them.
Can you ask her that?
I like the idea that she, like,
Why didn't you answer
after
when I tried to
doing all
uncover
that
it?
to make it, like, super high security, she just decided to lick it. Just for fun.
She's
got it,
turning
man.
away
Guess
from
I was
you
caught up in my work.
like this because she's super frantically
hold
trying
on
to
here.
remove crystal
I have to go.
fragments from her teeth with her tongue.
No, she still has a
mind?
little bit in her pocket and she's got to
I'm in
get
the
a
middle of
couple
my
more
shift.
licks in before you catch her.
Where are you going? What could be more important than tracking down those crystals?
You need
You were the
tissue,
one
like,
that said
How many
it.
licks
can I
does
give
it
you a
take
tissue?
to
You
get
seem
to
to be
the center
sniffling a
of
lot. It's fine.
And I did secure them. They're out of my hands now.
Like,
I want to
How many
straight
licks
answer.
does it take to get to the center of a strange crystal
What are you doing
formation?
here?
Carter, if things are gonna work out between us, I'm gonna need you
no,
to trust
fuck
me a
off.
little
Just
more
tell me
than
what
this.
you're
No,
up to.
no
married couple
This
talks
is
like
not a
that.
good start to a relationship. And I don't get why you're acting this way.
It's hard to trust you when you aren't acting like yourself.
Yeah, like,
I'm
you
not gonna
can't,
keep
like,
explaining myself
just
to you.
start dating somebody and then you're like,
Especially if
hey,
you're not gonna listen
why
to my
is
answers.
there blood all over the front of your car? And they're like, don't worry about it. Don't you love me?
Don't you trust me?
What's the holdup?
Like, no, we haven't actually developed that trust. We've developed an understanding.
Please.
You are seriously out of line, Miranda. First you tried to run, now this?
I'm not going to stand here and debate you.
Edsolar de Diaz.
Punch her? Like, what the hell?
Okay?
Like, no, super
No,
not
get
okay.
thrown.
This is extremely un-okay. Like, get
There's
fucking
just
security in
so
your
much.
stat.
Where is security? Shouldn't there be, like, cameras?
They're hustling up
I think
these
she
ladders
disabled them.
slowly in single file.
So I see you found each other.
You were taking so long, the commander sent us to see what the problem was.
Okay, great. Now go get
Diaz,
security and
you
arrest
were
this
sent here
lady.
with
She's
specific
being
orders,
super
and
sus.
Fighting your crewmate wasn't one of them. What the hell?
I like how they're immediately like, what the fuck are you doing, Diaz?
Let's just let them explain.
I'd like to hear that.
Ask
Because I know what it
Miranda.
looks like.
That's so catty.
It's ridiculous.
And tried to get away with this.
With
She was
this.
copying data onto it. I must have interrupted her when I came in.
Why is he yelling?
This drive is unauthorized.
There are ISOs all over the floor.
I think yelling is appropriate in this situation
And
because
that's
you
why
need
I
people to
was here,
understand how batshit
investigating
fucking
this
insane this was
situation.
before, like, everyone just
And when
assumes
Carter
this is
came looking
normal
for
stuff.
me, we got our wires crossed.
Why are you lying? Let's
wasn't
go
anything
full
more than
hardcore.
Why are you lying? Why are you
I wish I
lying?
was wrong about this. That I was overreacting. More than anything. But I know what I saw. And it's not what she's saying.
I can't believe this.
I don't know what's going on here, but I
Can't
think
we
need to
audit
call
who
in
set off the security
security. She can
cameras,
explain
or...
herself in the brig.
Hold on a minute. We don't need to put this on anyone's.
No, we do need to put it on the permanent record. We do need to put it on the permanent record.
And we should head to sickbay so the doc can check you out.
No?
Yeah, I
If being put in the
Did
brig...
lick the crystal.
think I should see the doctor.
You two know her? If you really think she's not well,
Take her to the brig and have the doctor see her in the brig.
what I know is this is a security breach, and we should treat it as such.
Please.
All right, security or
let me go see
sickbay?
the doctor.
Security!
We did have a
Security.
bumpy ride back on the shuttle.
Alrighty.
Come on, Carter.
Oh no, she doesn't like
Petty
us.
Officer Diaz.
This strange bald man wearing
security team to Death
wearing a mascot costume was caught with a sniper rifle? My stomach is feeling very ill. I would like to see the nurse. Well, I guess let's take him to see the nurse.